Look who just walked into awesomeness. Thank you for watching, and if you subscribe, I might just throw a party in your honor. Let's roll. I was reluctant to attend that evening. Kayla insisted my presence would be beneficial. It was her company's annual gala, an event designed for those who gauge success by the volume of hands they shake. I lingered by the bar, drink in hand, observing her navigate the crowd with ease. She exuded confidence, laughing at the appropriate times and leaning in attentively during discussions about strategy and growth. At one point, she glanced my way with a fleeting smile before returning to her conversation. That's when Tyler approached. He was her boss, beloved by all as the quintessential alpha male. Dressed in a sharp suit, he exuded a false bravado more theatrical than authentic. "You must be Kayla's husband," he announced, his smile as if I'd won an award. "Randy, right?" I nodded in confirmation. "That's me," I replied. Without pause, he pressed on. "So, what do you do, Randy? Or are you just the keeper of Kayla's punctuality?" Laughter erupted around him, tinged with nerves. I managed a thin smile. "I handle investment management," I responded. Tyler's eyebrows rose in interest. "Investments? So you're another money guy. Better watch out, or she'll be outperforming you soon," he joked, inciting more laughter. Across the room, I saw Kayla pretend to sip her drink, her discomfort visible but unspoken. With a hearty slap on my shoulder, Tyler said, "Lighten up, man. It's all fun. You're the lucky one here. She's the driven one. Some of us just marry smarter," followed by another round of laughter. He looked at me expectantly, but I remained silent, my gaze steady on him. The quiet unsettled him, causing a slight stumble in his self-assured demeanor. "Come on, Randy, don't be so serious. We're all friends here," he insisted. I set my drink down, my voice calm but firm. "Sure." Inwardly, I had already made a decision. He had no idea who he had provoked. Tyler, oblivious, raised his voice for greater effect, ensuring others could hear. "So, Randy, what's it like being married to the future VP of this company? Must be nice to catch some of that ambition." More chuckles followed his remark. Someone quipped about being house husband goals. Kayla's forced smile remained, her eyes darting between us, yet she remained silent. I could have walked away, chosen to take the high road and let him revel in his momentary triumph. But when a line is crossed, retreating is not an option. You stand your ground. From my jacket, I retrieved a slender black card case used for contracts and investor credentials. I placed it deliberately on the bar between us. Tyler's smile persisted. "What's that?" he inquired. I opened it methodically. Inside lay a letter bearing Armitage Holdings' letterhead, the firm behind his company's recent expansion. My signature adorned the bottom, labeled as a major partner and senior advisor. As realization dawned on him, his grin disappeared. He glanced between me and Kayla, who had turned pale. The surrounding chatter subdued, the room acutely attuned to the unfolding scene. "You should watch your tone," I said quietly. "You're speaking to someone whose firm sustains your company." Laughter from nearby tables abruptly ceased. Tyler swallowed anxiously. "I didn't mean anything by it. We joke here, that's all." "There's a difference between jest and disrespect," I replied, my tone unwavering. Tyler's smile stayed plastered, his eyes failing to mirror it. I lifted my drink again. "Now we're even." The atmosphere shifted. Tyler mumbled something about checking on the caterers and slipped away. Conversations faltered, then resumed, as if striving to erase what had transpired. Kayla avoided my gaze for several minutes before approaching with a tense urgency. "Can we talk outside?" We stepped onto the balcony overlooking the cityscape. "What was that?" she demanded. "You humiliated him." I met her gaze calmly. "I wasn't the one who started it, Kayla. I just finished it." "He was just joking," she retorted, arms crossed defensively. That's how he is with everyone. Everyone? I questioned. Does he belittle all their spouses in front of their colleagues, or just the ones who don't retaliate? She opened her mouth to respond, but found no words. Silence expanded between us. You wanted me here as a formality, I said. A rudder to anchor your image. Yet when things got uncomfortable, you camouflaged behind a drink and a false smile. That's not fair, she countered. You lack a grasp of what governs this world, I told her with a calm demeanor. The principles of respect are universal. Tonight you let yours slip away. Anger colored her cheeks. You're blowing this out of proportion, she retorted. My response was soft but firm. No, you've minimized something significant. Avoiding my gaze, she looked elsewhere. The laughter from inside seemed insincere, an act for those oblivious that the show had ended. Can we please just go home? She murmured eventually. I inclined my head. Sure. The drive was marked by silence, with her eyes focused on the passing scenery. I chose silence too, no words necessary. That night wasn't about plotting revenge or drowning in drinks. It was about embracing the quiet, allowing things to settle. The following morning, while sifting through reports, my phone buzzed. The email's subject was succinct. Regarding last night, Nathan Cole, the senior partner at Armitage Holdings, a man frugal with his words, had been informed of the previous night's events. Call me, I complied. Randy, Nathan's voice was composed, suggesting he was already privy to most details. I've heard your name was mentioned at a regrettable event. That's one way to view it, I responded. And also that their CEO made quite the scene. He continued, should we worry about our exposure? I nodded mentally. If that's his public representation of the company, it reflects poorly on his private management. Nathan considered my words. Could you visit today? Of course, I replied. By midday, I found myself in the conference room, relaying the facts to him without embellishment. Tyler's actions, the permissive environment, and the complicit silence. Nathan absorbed it all quietly. Once I concluded, he simply said, "We'll address this discreetly. Thank you, Randy." That was the end of that. No dramatic declarations, just a strategic move in the background. All it took was honesty. That evening, Kayla was unusually quiet. She sensed a change, but its depth eluded her. 2 days later, an uncomfortable silence settled between us. After dinner, she entered my home office, tension in her stance, arms crossed. I heard from work today, she began, her tone sharp. Tyler's undergoing review. Everyone thinks you had a hand in it. Without pausing my work, I responded, perhaps people are finally noticing. Her exhale was sharp. You're tarnishing my reputation, Randy. They believe I betrayed him. I finally turned to her, questioning, did you? Words failed her. I rose. Tell me, Kayla, when he mocked me, did you ever join in? Her eyes fell. It wasn't like that. Did you laugh? She hesitated before admitting, sometimes. It was harmless, just an attempt to belong. Harmless, I echoed softly. That's how you justify letting your boss belittle your husband for advancement? Moisture glossed her eyes as she whispered, I didn't mean it like that. I just wanted to integrate, understand the competition. I nodded slowly. So, in your view, I was disposable, easier to succeed with a silent husband tolerating jokes. Stop twisting it, she snapped. I'm not, I insisted. You exchanged respect for approval. You prioritized their acceptance over standing with me. She inched closer, her voice breaking. I erred, but nuclear retaliation wasn't necessary. You could have moved on. I did try to, until it became clear I was merely a supporting act in your show. Her tears threatened to fall again. What happens now? I held her gaze for a while. Now, you confront the consequences. You wanted to prove yourself? Here's your opportunity. She looked at me, bewildered by my transformation. Maybe she hadn't realized this was always me, just hidden. That night, I slept in the guest room. She didn't seek me out. By week's end, news of the internal review spread within her company. Tyler was temporarily suspended pending further investigation. Their public statement was careful, polished, language hinting at fear of future revelations. On Friday, Kayla returned home late, her makeup diminished, eyes red from withheld tears. Her bag landed heavily on the table and she paused before speaking. "Everyone sees me as the traitor," she voiced quietly. "It's as though I'm toxic." I remained still. "You pursued their validation," I reminded her. "Now, you've got their focus." She winced at my words. "Cruelty isn't necessary," she said. "I'm not lying," I replied, keeping my voice steady. "I'm just being honest. The same people who laughed at his side while he belittled me, they were never truly your allies. You missed the signs until now." She dropped into a chair, looking defeated. "You don't understand. They've shut me out of meetings. They're taking away projects I started. I might lose everything I've worked for." I leaned against the counter. "Maybe it's the cost of staying silent." Her eyes, wet with unshed tears, met mine. "I never asked for this." "Neither did I replied. "But you crafted an image of being all right while he put me down. You acted loyal while laughing at his jokes. That's why you're in this situation, not because of me." Her hands shook as she buried her face in them. "I thought I was doing what was necessary." "No," I said quietly. "You did what made you feel powerful, but it was borrowed, and now it's gone." Silence settled between us. Before bed, she stopped me in the hallway. "Randy, please tell me you're not enjoying this." I met her gaze. "No, Kayla. I don't rejoice in another's downfall, but I don't help those who've pushed me into the abyss either." Her lips parted as if to speak, but no words came. I moved past her and climbed the stairs, alone. By Thursday, Armitage issued a discreet statement. Tyler Roberts had officially resigned, effective immediately. Officially, he was seeking new opportunities, but everyone knew he'd been ousted. Kayla read the note at her desk, noticing the office fell into a brief silence before anyone could speak again. That night, as soon as she got home, she didn't even remove her coat. "They know you were behind this," she said, her voice flat. "I didn't hide it," I responded. Her voice wavered as she accused. "You've wrecked everything. My job, my reputation, it's all gone." I remained composed. "No, Kayla. Tyler wrecked it. You only helped extend his reign." She looked at me, her eyes filled with fear and bitterness. "I begged you not to make this worse." "You begged me not to make it visible," I replied. "There's a distinction." She paced, frustration emanating from her. "You call this justice? Watching me lose everything?" "I didn't seek vengeance," I said softly. "I wanted respect. You had numerous opportunities to stand by me, but you didn't. You stood by him instead." She halted. "So now what? You leave as the hero, and I'm the villain?" I moved closer. "I never needed to be the hero. I just refused to be the punchline." For a moment, she seemed on the verge of saying something, maybe an apology. Instead, she whispered, "I don't even know who you are anymore." I nodded. "That's the issue, Kayla. You never knew." I quietly packed a bag that night. No big exits, no threats, just the silent decision. She followed me to the door, tears falling freely. "You're really leaving?" "Yes," I answered. "You wanted someone who stayed silent to make you appear strong. That isn't who I am anymore." I opened the door. "You can rebuild your career. I hope you do, but it'll have to be without me." I left, giving her no chance to respond. I relocated to a small apartment downtown. It was peaceful, the kind of silence that felt like solace. Kayla wanted to save the appearance of our marriage, not the truth of it. The trust had evaporated. Once someone shows that your dignity is negotiable to them, you stop seeking explanations. You simply walk away. A month later, we signed the divorce papers. There was no drama, no shouting, just signatures and the silence between them. I hadn't envisaged ending it so swiftly, but after the weeks that followed, it became inevitable. News about Kayla spread rapidly. Tyler's scandal shook the company. New leadership took over, vowing to restore trust. She was offered a lateral transfer to a different branch. No raise, no team. The message was crystal clear. Her invulnerability had vanished. I didn't reach out. We had both made our choices. One evening, Nathan called to express his gratitude for handling things professionally. He mentioned the company's newfound stability and Armitage's secure position. Before ending the call, he added, "You did the right thing, even if it cost you personally." I told him, sometimes peace costs more than silence. Weeks slipped into a predictable routine: work, gym, dinner. I didn't feel lonely. I felt clear. One evening, during a networking dinner, someone mentioned Tyler's company. "Wild tale," they chuckled. "The CEO lost his job because of some hubris at a gathering. Challenged the wrong person, I heard." The table let out a soft chuckle, and I responded with a slight smile, mentioning how people ought to be cautious about whom they ridicule in public settings. As I made my way back to my car, I strolled past a restaurant and glanced inside. There, a bunch of colleagues were raising their glasses in celebration, jovial and boisterous. The very kind of scene that once filled my evenings. For a brief instant, my mind wandered to Kayla. Her infectious laughter, her drive, and the way she used to look at me as if I were invisible. I then unlocked my car, got inside, and drove away, not looking back. Sometimes finales don't arrive with dramatic flair or elaborate speeches. Occasionally, they appear quietly, akin to the sound of a door shutting, a life being recalibrated, and a man deciding not to fade away. And that evening at the party, that marked the instant I chose to speak up.